This meeting is being recorded.
Awesome. All right, so welcome to our first monthly product roadmap meeting. We're going to go over kind of what our purposes are on how things get onto our roadmap, what kind of takes priority. We'll go over what recent things we've had released, what things we have in beta, and what things we have in development. And if we have more time, we'll kind of go through what some of our upcoming planned items are. I'll go through how we define how each thing is kind of in each stage, and how you guys can keep more up to date on what we're doing here at MaidCentral. So first thing I really want to talk about is kind of what our mission and vision and values are, and kind of how we decide what things go into our roadmap. Really, we want to help you guys be more profitable. How to build value for you guys in your software, and how our software can help you guys achieve your goals as well. And we do this, that how we decide on what's going on our roadmap is defined by kind of our mission. So our end goals are really to collect data. So some things that we have in existence, like you guys will notice you have the day preference on your quoting tools right now, where you can say, what day preference do you have, but there isn't a function on that quite yet. That's us collecting data to hopefully build a process for that going forward, but that way you don't have to re-enter all that information for the people that have already put that in there. So that helps us kind of get started on some of these balls rolling without it all having to happen in one complete step. Eventually, we'd really like to be able to get to making complete recommendations for you. Things like our rate adjustments report, and how you're able to get recommendations based on what you're looking for in your business, and what goals and numbers and KPIs you're trying to reach within your business. For anybody who doesn't know, this is where our releases end up. We've got our product updates. So every time we do a build, we have a release that goes out here. It's also released in our knowledge base, which you can find through MaidCentral and our little logo in the bottom left corner. But this is a really good place to keep up with what we have released, and seeing any details on feature enhancements and new features in total. I have to preface this with, for anything that is not currently released, these are plans and not promises. Things change, things alter. Sometimes, big life events in our industry change what becomes priority, and changes what we're working on. So everything that I'm talking about today is a plan, not a promise. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, if something is beta, you're probably going to get that real soon. But if something's still just on the plan side of things, or even in the in-development side of things, it can change. And just keep that in mind with the things that we're talking about. The last thing I really want to bring up is how we really decide some of our priorities. So this is our cost to value. On the left side, you've got, it's hard to build, it takes a lot of time. And then on the right side, you've got, it's easy to build, it's low cost, it doesn't really take us a lot to make that. And then from top to bottom, you've got high value at the top and low value at the bottom. Things in that upper right quadrant are the things that we get out often. Almost every build has something off of this list, something that is low cost, high value, and really anything that can produce more profit or more revenue for our MaidCentral partners for the same amount of work. Those are our priorities. Things that we can help you increase your bill rates and your overall revenue without you guys having to work harder for it. Those are the things that honestly turn into a priority. Things that will kind of end up being farther on the roadmap or just under the planned or under consideration are things that might make things easier, but aren't making your bottom line better, and aren't really helping you achieve higher goals with less work. So that's a lot to go about. That's a lot to say about our how we decide how things. All right, I'm probably going to mute people unless I hear actual questions coming out, but any questions so far? Mostly just talking about getting the preface out here. All right, cool. So There's 3 different things that we kind of do about in our roadmap. We've got product development. These are the things like our enhancements as far as user interface and our backend stuff and our new features. We've also got support and partner success. That's Cameron and Alvin, who you guys talk to for any sort of success stuff. That's part of our roadmap as well. And then training and education. And that's on our onboarding side and a lot of stuff that I focus on as far as keeping people educated. So let's go ahead and dive into where we're at. So I'm gonna actually work our way backwards. Can everybody read this? Do I need to make it any bigger? Actually, that works. All right, so these are the things that we've recently released. Some of you know about these, but we had a wonderful post from Chad Henley the other day about our PTO report, and realized that some people didn't realize that that came out. So I really wanted to talk about some of the things that we've recently released and what those can do. Our most recent release is our updated email fee table, and that is in our fee table email that goes out. We've made this a vertical read. Oh yeah, and if you're not already here, make sure to join our call. Let's see here. Oh, of course it doesn't show up there. 1 second. All right, so our fee table has, oh, this is an old one, just kidding. So this is what the old one used to look like, where it kind of read across this way, depending on how many dates there were, and we've changed it to go vertically. You can still change the background of that or made it more easily read, but essentially wanted this to match what the online quoting tool looks like and how those were labeled. And then additionally, you can add itemized rate modifications. So if you have anything like a service area fee or, I mean, we've got lots of gas surcharges and stuff like that, fuel surcharges and fuel fees that you want to be part of your price, but not necessarily an itemized item, redundant, but an itemized listing on your quote. It will roll that into your total price. You'll see there's an additional itemized column here on your rate modifications to show, okay, if this is added on a quote, it's going to show up as its own line item. If it's not itemized, it means that it's just going to be rolled into the base price of your whatever scope of work you're talking about. So we've had a lot of people adding on different fees and things like that, that they don't necessarily need to be letting people know exactly what that fee is for. It's just part of the rate. And this is how you can do that now for both your in-office and online quoting. Any questions on that one? Cool. Another option that recently came out was our terms of service tag. And this is also in our email template. I think we added this to notifications. So you're able to put in a tag here for your terms of service to be added to different emails. So cancellation emails, reminder emails, things like that. So you can remind people what your terms of service are through all communications. So we now have this as a merge field within different templates. And I believe even tonight we're adding it to even more templates. So if it's not in a template that you'd like to see it in, more are getting added tonight. And I can get a list of exactly which templates those are if you'd like one.
Question.
Yes.
So as long as our terms of service are allocated in the right area within MaidCentral, that'll just automatically default to there, right? I mean, I guess it's kind of a silly question.
Yes. So I guess actually, no, that's a great question, because you do have to have your terms of service set up within your scope groups, whatever scope group that that client is in or that email is attached to. So this is why it's for like reminder emails and stuff like that, because those are attached to a job, which have a service set, which are part of a scope, which are part of a scope group. So it goes its way back up the list, and on the scope group that it is a part of, as long as you have your terms of service created in there, your agreement terms here, that's what will be attached on that terms of service link. So that's actually a good question, because this does have to be filled out, otherwise you're just sending them to a blank place. All right. The next really big thing that came out is our required scope for online booking. So this came out maybe 2 weeks ago, I believe. Maybe a month ago. I don't know. What is time? So this is really awesome because for people that really want to have a single scope be their initial clean, this way you can require it for online booking. I've set this up the way that I would set this up, kind of from scratch. I'll use our other example company here, is to have just all deep cleans in one scope. And I know some of us really hate that term. I'm one of them. I absolutely hate the term deep clean, but I can't think of another way to call this besides deep clean. So that's where it's sticking right now. But this would include initial cleans, one-time occupied cleans, move-in, move-out services, even post-construction, things like that, that it's just a single job. And you'd be able to add rate modifications onto that for the different packages. Essentially, the default would be your initial clean for recurring service. And then if they just wanted it to be a single job, it would have an upcharge. And if they just wanted it to be a move-out charge, or a move-out clean, it'd be an upcharge, so on and so forth. And then having your recurring service be the other scope of work available online. What this looks like is they wouldn't be able to take off the deep clean option, but they would be able to take off the recurring service option on the online quoting tool. But this way you'd be able to set up your pricing as a single for your initial clean or anything like that, because no matter what service they're receiving, they have to receive this one large initial sort of service, and then they can continue on with recurring service after that if they'd like. But this was a really big win and a really big option for people that have separate initial cleans, that they want it to have a flat price no matter what kind of frequency they're booking for recurring services going forward. This is kind of an alternative to using a required rate modification.
Hey, Aja, what if your deep cleaning, your one-time deep cleaning that's not attached to recurring services priced differently? You have a different ongoing and a different, you have the same deep cleaning service, you just price them differently due to, you know, giving a discount for ongoing clients.
Yeah, so the way that I was doing this in my head and the way that I kind of set this up in my little test environment for this setup is that you would have rate modifications for like a move-in, move-out package that would increase the price, or a top to bottom, at making like it a top to bottom heavy duty initial clean or something like that. But these would essentially be modifications on just that one-time clean. So your one-time clean could have various
That guy's a
prices.
pilot that got distracted talking about, hey, Ran, how are you going to pilot?
Sorry, I'm easily distracted. But this would just be modifications on that same clean, that you're understanding that it's the same clean that you're doing, it's just priced differently, or it might even be a slightly different clean, like with a move-in, move-out package that might include like a fridge and an oven clean and the inside of cabinets or something like that. So it's priced even higher than the other ones, but generally the other ones are all the same cleans. They're just priced differently because you're getting discounts to people that are staying on service with you. So how I would probably do it is probably base it on the one-time occupied clean price, and then having packages for an initial clean for recurring service, and then a package for a move-in, move-out service is how I would kind of look at it. Does that help? Cool. Any other questions on this one? All right. Some other updates that have come out within the last couple of months, we've got the job worksheet update. This one's really cool because it actually makes empty sections on your job worksheets that your technicians see. Those don't show up anymore. It only shows up sections that have information to really keep focus on the areas that they actually need to look at for their cleans, and it reduces the amount of scrolling, especially on mobile devices. So I believe they still show up. Let me double check this. I believe they still show up internally, but they might not either. But they don't show up externally. Oh no, they don't. Okay, so even internally, you're able to see that only the sections that have text are showing up here, and it doesn't show every single item within their home information. It just shows the ones that have information. So reduces the amount of scrolling, allows you to just see what you need to focus on, and kind of reduces time for your technicians to make sure that they're spending the time doing their most productive thing. The next big release was our closed ticket report. This one is, you're able to see this off of your dashboard. There's also, you can find it under reports as well, but under dashboard, if you go to view all on your tickets, you're able to see open or closed tickets and sort these based off of name, who they were closed by, what date different phases of the ticket happened, and also by type of ticket. So this is a really big report to make sure that you're keeping up on how tickets are happening. And it includes employee notes, quote notes, all the different kinds of notes that can go in and create tickets. You're able to sort through these from open or closed. And then probably my favorite release, and a lot of our big releases that Chad mentioned in the Facebook group, but I think that I really want to talk about this because it's a huge one. And if you don't realize that it's out there, you are missing out on a lot of saved time. And this is our paid time off and holiday pay report. This is found under company, all reports, and it's just called paid time off. And this report is used to bulk add paid time off and holiday pay for technicians and other employees. And this is really great because it lets you double check everything. It lets you see if somebody already has an additional pay item for that time period. And then you're able to make sure that they have an hourly rate. This hourly rate actually pulls from the hourly rate within technicians. So like our group admin here doesn't have a rate in there right now, but under your pay and tax info.
Real World Cleaning Logan 2 is.
Okay. Under the pay and tax info, under hourly rate, this box is what's used for your paid time off. So if you pay commission or ticket hour or something else, and you have a different hourly rate that they're paid for time that is not actually being worked, this is where you'll put that hourly rate in there for technicians and office staff. But on this report, we've got a lot of documentation on how to use it, but I do really want to make a point that this is out here, this exists, and it really shortens the time on adding paid time off. This is really great because it doesn't add the paid time off until that date has passed. So if they cancel that time off request, you're not having to go back and take off the PTO, even though it is subtracting from their total available at that point. It's not applying it to their account until that date has passed, and it's being applied to their payroll report.
I have a question.
Yeah.
For part-time people, we pay 4 hours. So obviously you can just go in there and adjust the hours, correct?
Yep. Yep,
And
exactly.
Our other stipulation is that you have to work the week of the holiday in order to get paid out a holiday. So are you able to cherry pick as to who qualifies for that in like the longevity?
Yeah, so here you'd be able to uncheck the ones that you don't want to create it for. And so you're able to do that. And you won't be able to see it again. So like right now I'm searching for the July 3rd through July 9th pay period. But if I was looking at a different pay period, you'll never see it again, essentially. So once you've done PTO for that pay period, you're never going to see it again. So you can deselect the ones that did not earn PTO for that time period, or holiday pay for that time period based off of your company's
Awesome, thanks.
specifications. Perfect. Any other questions on this report or this really awesome control? All right, cool. The last two we have here are smaller ones, but still really important. The first one is the show technician position on the job schedule. This is really great to help show, this one's been out for a while now, but I think that it's really great to add some importance on it because it really helps if you have, especially like trainees that affect your timing. It really helps you tell what might be affecting the timing on those jobs and why they're showing up the way that they are. But you're able to see all your team member positions directly from the job schedule here, and you can still change them from this place as usual. So you're still able to change their position if it's a, you know, somebody who's becoming a captain for the day or somebody who's getting out of training, something like that. You're able to see those changes all from one place. And the last one is our batch invoicing bulk delete. This became a bigger goal for people who pre-bill customers directly out of QuickBooks, where they send their invoices at the beginning of the month and then delete out the invoices at the end of the month that are created or that are batched in MaidCentral. Now you're able to delete them all with one click instead of deleting every single invoice individually. So here you're able to go through, and this is also really great, like maybe we haven't been paid for the other ones yet, but we've been paid for this first month ones. We can go through, delete those selected ones, and just do it with one click instead of having to individually delete, refresh, every single one. So this one was a really big win for people who do pre-billing. All right, so the next thing, I'm working backwards on our roadmap. The next thing that we have is what's in beta, and this is our Keep integration. So this is currently in beta, and we are getting closer and closer to being able to release this. What this is currently a direct integration with Keep, with the idea of being a function for customer lifecycle. So right now, our triggers, I can actually show you exactly what our triggers are currently. Let me pull this up really quick. So this is a really, really big lift, and we've been working on it for a couple of months, actually longer than that. So these are our triggers and tags. Our triggers are on the left side, and the tags are on the right side of the tag that is referenced in Keep. Here, these tags are through a simple growth connection, and we're able to see, mostly this is for our different service types, job completions, and sales prospects. We are hoping to add cancellations and things like that later on in the process, but these are our initial tags and triggers for our Keep integration. There's a lot to look at here. We do think that this is going to take a technical person in your office to really help set this up if this is something that you're interested in using. But it's a connection between Keep and a direct connection with Keep and MaidCentral based off of these triggers. We also are allowing a direct sync with active customers and active leads, and you're able to take all customers that started since a certain date, or all leads that came in from a certain date, or just active ones. And we let you know exactly how many need to be synced and how many were synced with that, with this option. So, and then you'll be able to create your campaigns and things like that, additional expert campaigns in Keep. So this is not a replacement for our campaigns. It can be a replacement, but if you already have things built within the MaidCentral campaigns, those are not going anywhere. So I just want to make sure that people understand that this is not replacing what else you already have created. What questions do we have on the Keep integration?
I have a lot, since I struggled with getting my campaigns to match up like Responsibid.
Yeah.
Would perhaps me looking into going to Keep fill that gap a little better, or should I just still struggle or try to work it out just in the MaidCentral platform?
I mean, either way, if you've already been able to create your campaigns and they're working the way that you would like them to, that is totally fine. And that works great and doesn't need any additional options or adjustments. But if you have, this is really good for extremely specific time-based triggers and stuff like that, of exactly how long you want to wait between things, or there's just a lot of different control through Keep that you're able to get. And coming from a company that was very heavily campaign-based, there's some value for people that already have a really heavy campaign structure on their nurture, like customer and client nurture. I think that has a lot of value. If your Responsibid campaign had a lot of that, then this could be a really viable option for you. So I do think that this is a this is a really giant leap forward in some more advanced campaign options. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Definitely.
I have a question going back to the topic of working the tickets.
Yeah.
Can you pull up that screen? I'm clearly trying to do that. Like, I want to go back and look at all the tickets that one of my employees closed yesterday.
Okay, so I'm in a test environment, so I don't know how many tickets we're closing and doing. So I have to pick types. Oh, sorry. Helps if I change it to closed. All right, so if you're doing the same mistakes that I just did, make sure your status is selected to close.
Yep.
You're searching by close date.
Yep.
And then if you want to search by closed by, it looks like it's first initial, last name.
Okay, so I don't put in any closed by. I have like nothing. It says processing, and then it says no data available in table, which I know is not correct.
Are you selecting the types as well?
Sure am. I got all three of them. I got closed, and I got yesterday's date. Like, I even tried changing my parameters and nothing.
I'll have to log in and take a look. If you select a larger date range, is anything coming up?
So I selected today. I will select the beginning of the month through today. And now it comes up. That's kind of odd.
Do you have any dates for yesterday?
That's what I'm going to look right now.
Yeah, double check. If not, put in a support ticket just in case. I know we did do an enhancement on this 2 weeks ago around dates. So just double check that that enhancement is doing.
So we had a lot of tickets that were closed yesterday, and they're on the list. I'm not seeing any closed for today, even though we've closed them for today. So do I need to report that?
Yeah, go ahead and report that. We did an enhancement on dates just 2 weeks ago, I'm pretty sure, for this report. So that might have been an unintended consequence of maybe the time that it's selecting. Might be choosing like 12:01 a.m. instead of 11:59 p.m. on that day or something. So, all right, awesome. Any questions on the Keep integration or any other of our recent releases?
I just have a quick question. Is this Google Keep? Sorry, I've got to look this up now.
Oh, it's yeah, you can yeah. So if I Google just Keep, it
Okay,
should just
Keep.
Yeah,
okay, perfect. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Going once, going twice. Any other questions on the Keep integration? Fantastic. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about some of the things that we have currently in development. Our priority on our development right now is our Google Maps update, and this is phase 1 of our Google Maps update. We do have a second phase on this update. The key pieces of this update are adding technicians home to routing reports. So for people that are doing remote solos that are routing from home, adding that to the routing report to be able to see how far they are from their houses from their first home and how far their last home is from their actual home. So additionally, we are adding the multiple office functionality and sorting to Job Scheduler, and other reports would probably come after that. The initial one would be the Job Scheduler, and then from there, we would be working on adding some additional functionality for multiple offices on the same branch, and having the routing be accurate based on that office location. Team mileage control, similar to our paid time off control that I just showed you. This is a bulk additional pay option for team mileage. We'll be able to set parameters on this around either, the goal is parameters around miles driven or time driven, etc. So this will be really, really great for people that are paying mileage, which I know is a really big deal right now because of gas prices. So this is on our first priority sort of development right now and is currently in progress. Additionally, we're working on really awesome calculations for team efficiency and schedule efficiency. We've got a couple of different efficiency scores that we kind of use internally on the MaidCentral side, but we really like to give you guys the option to use these efficiency scores for your schedulers, for your teams, in addition to just kind of individual technician efficiency. So part of this Google Maps phase 1 is calculations for those efficiency scores and having those available to you guys. The next big option, and this one's really big, this is something that we are really passionate about because this really ties into the idea that you know, we want to help you guys get more. We want to help you guys get more profit revenue with less work or no additional work. And rate modifications and having bulk updates for our rate modifications is literally the simplest way to make that happen. So this is really something that we're working on right now as well, and that's bulk adding rate modifications for all service sets, or being able to bulk add rate modifications for things such as zip codes or service frequency and other filters as well. These are going to be great for, you know, drive time or like, yeah, drive time factors so that you're charging more for certain zip codes because they're more out of your service area. But also things like fuel surge charges or just convenience fees, things like that. We were able to, if you add a, you know, $5 fuel surge charge per job and your average bill rate is $180, that's a 3% like profit, just straight down to profit. Nothing else changed, right? Literally nothing else changed on your revenue or how things are built, and it just goes straight down to profit and right down to the level of being able to either go back into the business or however else you'd like to use that. But that's also, you know, if you're really working on trying to make bigger margins on how you're able to operate, these sorts of modifications are huge in being able to make that happen, and being able to do this really quickly for your entire customer base is going to be absolutely gigantic, especially as we're kind of in this area, this time of pretty high inflation and things are kind of going a little bit wonky. Pricing and being able to evaluate your pricing quickly and change it quickly is going to help so much. So this is a really big priority for us because we'd like to put that in your hands as quickly and easily as possible. Additionally, part of this is Kat on this call? No? Gosh dang it. All right. This is something that she's been asking for so long, and I wanted her to be on this call so badly. But rate increases will be applied to percentage-based rate modifications. And that sounds super complicated and ridiculous. But essentially what this means is that if you are doing a rate increase, let me pull this up really quick. So if you're going through and doing a rate increase and you have a recurring rate modification on your job, we are adding the functionality to, if it's a percentage-based rate modification, it will change based off of your new price. Additionally, the fee that will be emailed out in the rate email, so if we're looking at the email here, this new rate option that's in the email will include recurring rate modifications in the total. It'll be an itemized list similar to how the quote email is and the online quote total is. So it will be using the same format as that. But this way, you know, if they're paying $210, but their base fee is only $195 and they have a $15, you know, ongoing rate modification for sheet changes, their total price will show up with that increase and not just the base fee. So this is a really big deal, and I think this is going to be gigantic.
And Naja, can I speak for her and say that's awesome? Thank you. Yeah, we had the same thing. Thanks.
Yeah, no, we're really excited about this, and this is going to be one of those options again. Less work, more revenue. So very excited about that one. Next item on our in development list is combining our revenue production planning and availability calendar. Right now, these two calendars or these two reports show kind of the same information, but don't match the way that we would like them to. And that's because the availability calendar was updated when we released the 2.0 quoting tool, but the revenue production planning was not. So our goal is to make these one report with two different tabs, essentially. You'd have the availability calendar and your revenue production planning all together, showing unused time, unused revenue, etc. Hopefully breaking it down by team or technician, depending on how you schedule. But this will be a really great option for having different views for your upcoming availability, and also how you're kind of looking for your week-to-week revenue goals or day-to-day revenue goals even. And then the last thing that we have in development, this is later on the priority list as our in development, but it has been started. It just, the Google Maps is our priority right now. First one is adjusting how our calculations work for team size for trainees and multiple teams being assigned. Hopefully being able to get the, some of our goals, end goals, long-term goals would be able to have, if it's multiple dispatch, that the start times line up with when the previous job ends. So having some more dynamic scheduling as far as the job scheduler goes. Additionally, adding progress information. So not only showing who is clocked in, but from the office side, also showing the estimated time for it to be completed, which is what technicians are able to see. So just putting it on the office side so that you can see who's already gotten into the job. So if it's multiple dispatch, you know, it says that it's in progress on both of the multiple dispatch teams, but being able to see which team is actually in and which team is not. And then the biggest thing for our job schedule upgrade is having a notification or a visual notice of which technicians are not available to work and what teams are not available on a day-to-day basis from the job scheduler view. So that's a really big thing that I know has been requested for a long, long time. So it is on our in development phase, and it would come after our Google Maps and potentially some of the other ones, but it has been started. Any questions on those? Again, these are in development, so I don't have a lot of information except for that I know they're coming.
I have a question, Aja.
Yeah.
So on the job scheduler where it says add in progress information, so if two people are already clocked in and then two more people show up, will it change on their side so they can see how much time they have left now that two more people have joined?
That already happens on the technician side. That is already an existing feature on the technician side. So if you have, I don't think we have any double dispatch here. Oh, we've got JD Smith. So when the first team arrived here, they had a projected time, a projected end time that was there. And then when the next team arrived, that projected end time adjusted. So it shortened based off more people being on there. It also adjusts if somebody leaves early. It will jump back down if somebody leaves early and lengthens the time if somebody leaves early from the job. So the technicians already see this. It's just not on the office side yet. And so the job scheduler update would include that.
Awesome. I don't know that my girls know that that exists, actually. I don't think they ever look at it until they're clocking out.
Yeah, that came out probably like October, November of last year, I believe. But so that one's been out for a while. I remember being very excited about that. I was still at my old company during that time, and I was like, "This is the coolest thing ever!" So that was very exciting. But now, giving the same opportunity to the office and being able to see projected end times, I know for companies that send a lot of end of day help around, or people are kind of adjusting throughout, being able to see that projected end time helps a ton, and just kind of laying out a plan without having to do lots and lots of math.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other in development questions?
Can you elaborate just a little bit on the Google Maps update as it pertains to multiple offices?
Yeah. So the multiple offices, the functionality, so we've got a couple of options, a couple of things that we have planned. First is assigning at the team level to an office, multiple offices being able to have different addresses and locations so that you have, if you're doing any sort of routing from or to the office, that being included in your routing calculations, and then additional sorting. So on things like the job schedule, dispatch board, those are the two that I can think of off the top of my head that we've talked about, but being able to sort those by office. So only having one visible at a time, both visible, et cetera, and being able to sort a little bit easier on the scheduling side of things based off of offices.
Okay, so it will kind of end up looking like a filter on our end, do you think?
Yep. So yeah, the sorting filter would be the sorting filter.
And then do you think that will pertain across the different pages, reports, etc., or?
We have, so that is, I believe, our dashboard option is part of the plan. So we've got included on here is definitely sorting and filtering. Let me add that. So this is a plan thing. And this is one of those things, like some of these things so now that we're jumping into plan, these things are planned, have not necessarily been started on. Some of these are going to be able to be, aren't going to be gigantic in development things like our Google Maps one is. That one has been a huge undertaking, and it's something that's been being worked on pretty much since I started at MaidCentral. So that one's a really big undertaking that's been taking some time. But you'll notice we still do builds every 2 weeks, and a lot of those include additional features, and some of these things are included on some of those things. So something could go really quickly from plan to release. So the in development phase usually is for bigger projects, but they just kind of get stuck there for a while because they do take longer time, and we like to do things right and not fast. So, I mean, still fast, but right is our priority. So dashboards, some of the things that we have planned for this is report enhancements, logging titles on all of our reports, exporting numbers as numbers on all of our reports, sorting and filtering options, and making sure that they match across all reports. And those are things that, little reports here getting updated, and you'll notice that some of them have locked titles and some of them don't, and that's just some of those additional feature enhancements that happen over time. We're rolling those out when there's time to roll them out, but it is on our planned roadmap for sure. So yeah, we definitely want to have that filtering. Filtering by scope group is a really big option. While we're on here and on the dashboard, some additional planned items that we have are a customer health and an employee health dashboard. Being able to see people that are, whether on the customer side or the employee side, that are not very healthy, that need extra attention or need some extra focus. For customers, things like scorecards, skips, overall consistency. Actually, something that's not on here that I really should on our in developed and kind of potentially in beta is a consistency report. Where we're able to show, Chris, you should be excited about that, but that wonderful consistency report that we worked on all that time ago, it's coming, we've got it. Lots of options there. So that is actually hopefully a feature that will be coming out in the next couple of months. So, but that will be another score for customer health. If somebody's really not having high consistency that maybe does need it, being able to have a quick alert, part of our business intelligence sort of advancements on, you don't have to go through and dive and dig into everything and understand what's happening with this customer by looking at 16 different places, but having the option of being able to tell you, hey, this is a potential warning point for this customer or for this technician, check in on them, sort of things. Another thing that's planned that has become a heavier lift than we expected it to be, but is something that we are thinking about constantly, is updating our technician dashboard and our technician profile, particularly custom filters for stats and KPIs, date filters, customer filters, et cetera, for scorecards, productivity, and attendance on the technician side. This is definitely planned. It has just turned into a much larger project than we expected it to be. So it's one of those ones that gets worked on as it can be, but is not fully in development yet. Another planned item is a much anticipated update to make pay types easier to change and create within technicians. So that is something that we've talked about. Again, is in the planning phase right now. We'll move into development as time allows for it. Phase 2 of the Google Maps update would be the ability to schedule meetings without creating a billable job. There's a couple other items on this that were told to me in really tech speak, and I was not fully cognizant enough to translate it. So I didn't write them down, but there are a couple other parts of this phase 2. This is the one that I know people want to hear about, and it is on there. It was part of phase 1. It just turned into again, a bigger piece of it, and we wanted to get the other parts released and then be able to focus on this part as its own phase. Another scorecard planned thing is automating our resends if there is no response. This is another one of those things that will probably not be a large overall project that will hang out and in development for a long time, and it might just be one of those things added to a random build. So we are actually adding, this does bring me to another piece, but I'll let you guys look at these. Do you guys have any questions about our planning features right now? Cool. So something that you guys might have noticed is that we've been having a few more sort of announcement type things happening within MaidCentral. Notifications about this meeting, notifications about the Q&A meeting, but also some guides and things on how to use these things. So we're actually going to be doing a lot more of that. This is on the education side of things, something that I'm working heavily on. Austin's helping me out on this as well. And Rebecca is wonderful with ideas and helping us keep on track since she's been doing this for so long. But this is going to be coming out for a lot of our different things and new builds as well. So our goal is to have, every time that we have a new build come out, you'll be given a alert that says what's in the new build ahead of time, and then we'll let you know when the build is live. The live build, if it needs any sort of guides or education on how to use it, we're planning to have a guide listed with it. And what I mean by guide is, let me show one of these. So sometimes they're one step. So this is my questions guide based on the questions for the quoting tool. It's going through kind of what's happening on this page. We'll probably have a video on there. Our goal is not to have any videos longer than 5 minutes on any of our educational pieces. If it's more than 5 minutes, we're going to try to break it up into multiple steps. But we really wanted you to be able to do things within MaidCentral while also learning about it at the same time. So this is another big piece of kind of our educational and training piece of our roadmap, is adding more education within your app so that you don't have to leave it to learn about it. You can stay right where you're at and learn all you need to know. And I think that is all I had for today. I'll pull up our under consideration list, but it's a long one. And again, this isn't something that, these things haven't been flushed out necessarily, but it's been things that we've talked about and do see value in. But they wouldn't be part of our probably 6 months to 9 months roadmap. It would probably be after that these would be added to the roadmap based on what's already in development.
Is there ticket filtering or assigning within those? I can't quite tell.
Yep, expanded ticket functionality, assign and track status of tickets. That's on the under consideration option. That would be a larger project for sure. That would probably be 6 to 9 months out based on what's currently in development.
Okay.
Kind of fix my grammar here. Anybody else use Grammarly? Because I'm in love.
Yes.
Love it. So yeah, everybody, I always just have these little like red and green blurbs everywhere that I'm typing. But yes, so we have talked about the assign and track status of tickets. It's definitely under consideration. It hasn't moved into the planning phase yet. Oh, Tammy, are you talking to me or somebody else? Somebody else. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, any other questions here? And then we do have a build tonight. Let me pull up those notes. I already mentioned that we've got, part of that is additional functionality for the terms of agreement or terms of service, where that, how many templates that shows up on. So that is part of that build. And then additionally, we've got, let me pull it up really quick. Oh, emailing batch invoices. So that is a part of the build tonight, is that you'll be able to email batch invoices. Previously, that was not an option. That batch invoices were just, they just got created. But now we'll have the option for those will be able to be emailed out as a batch. So those are the two items on tonight's build and will be available tomorrow. All right, anything else? Any other questions? Cool. Well, we'll be doing this meeting every second Thursday of the month. Our bills are typically on Thursday, so it will be more than likely that we'll probably line up with a Thursday with a build like we are today. But we'll be doing this the second Thursday of each month. I probably won't spend as much time on release, and they probably won't be as long. But I will spend time on what's in beta, what's in development, and if we've moved anything from under consideration or planned, we'll be on those. This first one is definitely a big one because I really wanted to go over what's been released since we haven't had one of these in a while. So I hope you guys all got a lot of information, maybe learned something new about what is already existing, or have some highly anticipated feelings about what's coming down the pipeline. But it's been great seeing y'all, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah. Bye, guys.
Thank you.